Welcome to Healing Archetypes, recorded at the Universal Healing Center in Miami, Florida. I am so excited today. Number one, let me say that I am so excited that you chose to join me again in one of these classes on healing. You know, like I said in the previous teaching, that the subject of healing can be one of those subjects that doesn't have a lot of entertainment to it. You know, there are really no fireworks and angel appearances and magic sparks. Well, we can create those things, and a lot of people do seek to create those things, and a lot of times they have to lie. In order to entertain the people, they have to lie. Because who's going to look a person in the face and tell them, well, the next 9 weeks of your life, you will be meditating on this sentence that I'm going to write down on this paper. And during those 9 weeks, you will feel nothing. But at the end of those 9 weeks, you will have a change in perspective. You will have a miracle. And that miracle will change your life forever. Speaking on miracles, and I love the book, A Course in Miracles. In the book, a miracle is described as, like I said before, a change in perspective. It means that the same thing you've been looking at all along, all of a sudden, you see it differently. The same life you've been living, all of a sudden, you see it differently. The same child that's living inside of your home, or husband that lives in your home, or wife that's sleeping in the bed with you, you look over at her and you see things differently now. And I believe that our world will be a much better place if a lot of us will begin to have miracles happen in our lives. Meaning that you're not going to get a new life. No, the life you have, you're pretty much going to keep that one for a good while. But you're going to see it differently. A change in perspective. You're going to stop coveting other men's lives. You know, I wish I had his life. It looks so fun. Or I wish I was shaped like her. I know I would get so much attention. Or I wish I could sing like her because I know people would just praise me and honor me. Nah, you're not going to get any of that. You're going to look at your own life and you're going to say, honestly say, should I say that? Yeah. You're going to honestly say, thank you, God, for my own life. And you're going to find joy in your own life. A change in perspective. Today's archetype that we're going to study is the wounded healer. How do you help someone when it seems like you have the exact same style of problems? How do I stand on the mountain and preach to you the message of deliverance that you need when if I'm honest with myself, I need the same thing? Teacher, how could you tell me to show joy and kindness to the whole world when, if I'm honest and I look at my life, I don't feel like this world has shown much joy and kindness to me? The wounded healer. The first wounded healer is known in Greek mythology. Now, I must be honest to say I just simply don't read Greek mythology. I don't read it. I have no interest in it, and I usually won't pick up a book if the book says, well, this is Greek mythology. For me, it's like, someone coming up to me and saying, listen, I have this awesome story, and it's going to take about an hour to tell it. But before I tell my story, I just want to let you know it's all lies. I pretty much would tell that person I have better things to do with my time. But surprisingly, I finally read some Greek mythology. And I could tell you that I really kind of got something from it. Maybe it was a lie, but maybe the lie was more like a parable, meaning that I'm going to use a story to illustrate a point. And boy, did I get the point. Well, since we're in class and I'm acting as teacher right now, I'm going to introduce to you some Greek mythology. And let's see if you can get a point from it, okay? Today we're going to talk about Chiron, who was a centaur. Now, whether or not I said his name right. You know, you say tomato, I say tomato. And I also say maybe you should get on the internet and find out the real pronunciation. But let's get back to class. Now, Chiron was a centaur. And if you know anything about a centaur looks like his body on the bottom half is a horse. But he has man shoulders. Anyways, okay, look, he's a centaur, okay? So, he's half man, looks like, and half horse, okay? But let's give a little bit about his character, okay? Most people in the myth say that Chiron was just a very kind and wise guy. It also says that he was very, very, very gentle and seemed to be very caring, okay? Now, let me give you a little bit of his history. Because when they told me that he was gentle and caring, I almost said, well, I don't know why. Because Chiron was rejected by his mother for being half horse. She just didn't like that look. You know, she saw him, he, I guess, came out and she saw man's shoulders, horse legs, or horse back, or horse body parts, and she said, I don't like him. And she wanted to give him back to the gods. Well, Chiron was here. And it reminds me of our lives, you know. How many things about yourself is just not accepted? But guess what? You're here. Now, after being rejected by his mother, he was taken in by Apollo, okay, who was the god of healing. Now, the god of healing, of course, if you live with the god of healing, you're going to pick up some healing skills, okay? Now, Apollo trained Chiron to be just really amazing. Like, he was admired for his abilities in healing because, of course, his main caretaker was the god of healing. Isn't this story already amazing? How do you come from being rejected as a child, thrown away to say, to living with the god of healing and now deciding, with my life, I will heal others? Now, even though he was like one of the most kindest people in the world, all of a sudden the story just takes this left turn, okay? So picture this. Here's this kind centaur, okay? And he says one day he has a group of friends over. He says, hey, dudes, come over. Let's have a barbecue. Did I forget to mention that Chiron also, previously in his life, he actually started a school. And this school was called the School of Heroes. Basically, he would get people together and he would say, listen, if it ever came down to it and you needed to know how to war and win, I want you to have the skills of survival. I want you to have the skills of an overcomer. Let me teach you. And he taught many people. Well, back to the barbecue. Okay, so he says, I'm throwing this barbecue, I'm throwing this little party, guys, right? And I want you all to come over. Well, while everyone's over, he pulls out some arrows, and everybody's looking at these arrows, and he's talking to them a little bit, you know, about the arrows and how they're used, and you know. Now, by mistake, one of his dudes who's at the party makes a mistake and shoots him in the leg. And should I mention that the arrow on the tip of it has a poisonous venom? Here I am throwing this barbecue, being nice to everyone, and Heracles with his clumsy ass shoots me in the damn leg. Sounds a lot like our lives, right? Here's the issue. I'm sure the venom on that arrow was meant to kill. But Chiron was a centaur and he was immortal. So now he would have to live out the rest of eternity with this hole, with this wound in his leg. So it was said that he wandered the earth, wandered around in agony, literally just trying to cope and deal with this pain. Okay, I had enough of Greek mythology. I'm not going to lie to you. That's enough. You know, I mean, you can go online and it's Chiron, and you could find the story and read the rest of the story and kind of, you know, get more out of the story. But I pretty much had enough. And I'm going to just use the first part of his life as a teaching mechanism today. Okay. Since he's called the first wounded healer, we're going to take from his life some principles that we can use in order to kind of find ourselves in this world of healing. Number 1, I want you to write this question down. Here we go. Can I give amidst this situation? Can I give amidst this situation? Look at your life. Okay, if I got you a blank sheet of paper and I told you to write down all the things you hated about your life, I'm sure that you could possibly fill that paper up. But I want you to look at it from a different perspective today. Now, yeah, your life is some days a mess, okay? Some people wouldn't swap lives with you. They don't covet your life. But the reality is that you have your life, and now we got to make sense out of it, okay? I want you to see it from another perspective. Could you possibly be like Chiron and give amidst your situation? Remember I said that Chiron mother, dumped him young because of just, she didn't like how he came out. She gave him back to the gods. And he was thrown out on the streets. Listen, you all do something with him because I sure don't want him. This was rejection at its best. Okay? And Chiron had to decide, would he even learn a skill? Sometimes you have so much lack of hope that it's not even worth you even trying to learn a skill because you don't even believe that your life has worth. Are you able to give, even given the situation that you're in? Now, give what, you may say. And I'm glad you asked that question because the first thing we like to give is advice, okay? And I'll be the first to go ahead and tell you in this tough class. I'll get the elephant out the room. Nobody wants advice from you. No. You're not going to be able to give advice, okay? Sometimes when we look at your life, you're not the person really to give the advice. And I'm going to say the same thing about myself. No one wants advice from me. I do spiritual teaching based on spiritual principle. My own personal opinion, really doesn't matter. That's why I read the story about Chiron. If you would have came to me on a Sunday and said, hey, you want to get together and read about Chiron? I would probably end up standing you up on that date. It would just bore me. And I wouldn't want to go. But because we're in class, we have to do what it takes to get the lesson. And Chiron presented a beautiful lesson. He was able to serve. He was able to give amidst his rejection-filled situation. Though he was rejected, he didn't take that rejection energy and pass it out to the world. Though he was shamed, he didn't treat others with shame. He chose to give something different. He chose to give kindness. He chose to give acceptance. He chose to give love. Well, some people say if I can't give advice, I don't want to give anything. That's a choice. But how about starting with the small things? How about telling the lady at the Burger King or the burger joint in your neighborhood when she gives you your change? How about saying, thank you, instead of saying, did you put ketchup in this bag? And let's make it a little more personal. Are you a good friend? Yeah, you've experienced many wounds in your life. But do you wound others in the exact same way? Mothers, you remember what it was like to be mistreated by your mother. Now, when you deal with your kids today, do you show them unconditional love? These type of things back us up into a corner, and we don't want to talk about this because this makes us have to face that the very thing that we're crying about is the same thing that we do or will do to others if we don't heal. Number 2, can I bear pain? Now, I'll be the first to say that I don't advocate for any type of pain. I'm talking emotional, physical. Usually I don't want anything to do with pain, all right? I got one tattoo, though. I like that. But anyways, okay, look. What I'm trying to say is that pain, though it is aggravating, though it is painful, there are certain pains that I call transitional pains that we must have the endurance and the strength to bear. Example, I love children, but if you ask any mother, bringing that child into the earth was one of the most painful experiences she ever had in her life. Listen, life has some pains involved in it, and we will have to learn how to endure pain. if we're ever going to bring anything to pass. Ask the college student, okay? When they're getting a master's degree, most of the college students would tell you that it was excruciating. I had boring classes. I had days that I had to eat bologna and water. But there was pain involved with getting that master's degree. Transitional pain. You know, when you go through a breakup, okay? And to me, you know what a breakup is? A breakup most times, not all the time, but most times is the universe's way of saying, hey, come here. You're being taken advantage of. This guy or this girl is really not good for you. So, I'm going to show you a way out. Or, better yet, I'll show them a way out. And they leave you. Okay, look. Now you're left there heartbroken. Can you endure being heartbroken? Well, a lot of us, as soon as we get heartbroken, we always get a knife and hold it to our throats and threaten to kill ourselves. But the story of Chiron, it asks us to figure out what we're able to handle. You should know what you're able to handle. As a matter of fact, if we begin to really list the things that we're able to handle, the things you've been through, your self-esteem would jump at least 10 points. Because you would look at your life and say, wow, look what I was able to stand through. Look what I was able to endure. I do have strength. I do have power. Wow. Another transitional pain I want to talk about is the pain of healing pain, aka therapy. Most people just don't go to therapy because they say, hey, when I get into that chair, I know that psychiatrist, that psychologist, all they're going to do, that therapist, all they're going to do is they're going to bring up my pain. And I don't want to feel pain again. Well, I'm going to let you know something. Sometimes the only way out of pain is to walk through the hallway of pain. The good part is that there is a way out. The hard part is, during your therapy sessions, you will experience some emotional pain as you go through the stories to make sense out of them or to find the power in them. The same thing applies to spiritual teachings. A lot of people just don't want to talk about deep things. They would rather keep it light. Because as soon as they start to talk deep, they remember the feelings of funerals. And it reminds them of their dead relatives. And they don't want to talk deep, Let's keep it light. Well, could I say this? And I'm kind of like those people at times. But I've understood that sometimes, in order to do work, you got to get a little messy. You got to get a little dirty. And you don't come to do work with your red bottoms on. Unless you don't mind getting your red bottoms all muddy. That's cool too. But back to the point, Chiron's life is asking us to analyze our pain tolerance. How much pain can you handle? Can you handle pain at all? Because I'm going to tell you something, a lot of pain you will heal, but there is something called transitional pain. And hey, you're not exempt. Carrying you for 9 months and bringing you into the world, your mother wasn't exempt. And guess what? You're not exempt either. Transitional pain happens. Number 3, write this down now. Can I keep a healthy, positive attitude amidst any situation? This is really just not my favorite question. Mainly because I have to just go ahead and admit to you guys, I can't. I usually don't keep a positive attitude in the midst of difficult situations. I can't even say it because I hate difficult situations. I like things simple. I like things planned. I like to be in control. And when that doesn't happen, I get a bad attitude. Let's say there's a traffic jam or someone got in an accident. I don't ask, oh my God, were there children in that car? I really want the ambulance and the police to move that car out of the way so that I can get to work. How selfish. How inconsiderate. Well, that's why we're doing this class. We could ignore it and act like that's not us, or we can be honest and say, when it comes down to my comfort, I would care less about others. Can you keep a positive and healthy attitude amidst a difficult situation? Ask yourself. You know, Chiron, his life really taught us a big lesson. Even after his accident, where his friend shot him in the leg with the poisonous venom and he ended up being in pain, he continued to help others. And even after his mother deemed him as unacceptable, he started a school to help others become warriors. Great guy. Well, sounds nothing like me. When I'm mad, I'm not helping anybody else. When I'm upset, you can forget about my gifts and callings. When I have an attitude, I wish a homeless person would come knock on my window. No, I don't, because I don't want to do what I will do. Get the point? You see, and that's what this class is about. It's about us becoming honest with ourselves. And though we call ourselves healers of the world, we must ask ourselves, are we truly healers? Or are we just like everybody else? And we like the idea of healing, and so we wish to heal. But in fact, in our everyday lives, we don't heal. We just wound. We do the exact thing to others that we feel was done to us. Well, that's it. Class dismissed. I want you to go and meditate on those 3 points. And listen, be honest with yourself. It's just you and God. Who are you fooling? Can't fool God. But why fool yourself? I'd rather you face the pain of knowing exactly who you are in the world today than to lie to yourself and claim to be a healer of the world. But in fact, all you are is another person with a whole bunch of wounds and a whole bunch of stories to back it up. But you can't give me bullshit because I know the truth. The truth is, you are a warrior. You are called to heal yourself and to heal the world around you. Starting with yourself and to those who are closest to you. You can be the healer, the light of God, the hands of God, the voice of God, bringing restoration, strength, and encouragement. You have so much potential. You don't even know it. Rise to the occasion. Be healed and heal.